Alright, so this is the lecture number 90 in our DSA series, and from now onwards we are going to start the recursion. And like previously we were solving the problems which were related to strings, string builder and arrays, 1D array, 2D array, and we have seen some number system series also. So they all were very basic programs, and from now onwards we are moving ahead in our DSA series. So from now onwards we would be continuing the recursion, and in the recursion I would be telling you where we need recursion, why we need recursion, and in which scenarios recursion comes to rescue us, so that we would be able to figure out what the exact solution of the problem is. So let us get started with the recursion. So before moving to recursion, I want you to look at this program which we have to solve it, and of course this is the project which I have made, and from now onwards we would be solving the problems over this site only. And I have hosted this site onto a server, so you can check out this also. The problems which we have covered previously, all of them are listed here, and for now we are solving the problems related to recursion. So once I click onto this problem, I would be moving into the problem, and here I can submit my code, and you have been provided different language support also, so you can submit your code in any language. And I have made a dedicated introductory video of this project, how you can use it and why you should use it. So that video is just prior to this video, you can watch it, and what I will do, I will put down the link into the description for that video. So that is the out of context. Coming to the context of the today's video, look at this question. This says print number in a decreasing order till 1. That means if we have provided 5, let us take the example of this. If you have provided with 5, then you have to print 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You have to solve it, and this is also mentioned that you do not have to use any loop. So you have to think about how you can solve without loop. Of course, we have, like, what we can do, we can write 5 print statement, and in each statement we can print like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is the worst approach. So here comes the recursion in picture. Recursion comes to rescue us. So we would be able to solve this problem with recursion, and in this problem we would be not using any loop. So I'm going to show you how we can apply the recursion onto this problem and how we can use it, and in which scenarios we have to use the recursion. And along with that, I'm going to show you the best way to learn the recursion, because I know many people find the recursion too difficult, and due to that difficulty they are not able to understand the DP, dynamic programming, and they are not able to understand the trees, graph, and anything. Fine. So the problem is this. Take the example of this. This is the problem which we have to solve. You would be provided a number and you would be asked to solve like this. Fine. So you have to start from that number and go till 1. Until that number not reaches to 1, you have to print the digits or the numbers, whatever it is. So with that, we are going to start the recursion. Fine. So first of all, the definition of recursion is, do not go on to the spelling. So definition of recursion is function calls itself. This mechanism is known as the recursion. Let us say you have been given a function called fun and any argument, and if this function is calling itself in the body of this function with the same name and same argument, then this mechanism is known as the recursion. Recursion, definition is very simple, but recursion is not as simple as that. Its definition, trust me, it is not simple as that. But if you will learn the recursion in my way, the way which I am going to show you, then this is very easy. So there are 3 steps in the recursion, and I will tell you why we need these 3 steps. Fine. So first step is faith. In recursion we would be needing to have faith. Second step is, so faith is not the first one is expectation, what is expected from us. Second one is faith. faith or believe. Third one is meet faith plus expectations. So these are the three steps which we would be needing while solving the problems related to recursion. Fine. Let us take it here. We would be requiring it. Fine. So why we need faith? Let us understand it. Let us say you have been provided 5 and let us say if you have been provided 5, then what you have to do? You have to print 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 like this. So if you have been provided a 5 into a function, not n, let us say 5, then what you have to do? You have to print 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Suppose if this was not the problem, if you have been provided input as 4, then what you have to do? You have to do 4, 3, 2, 1. Ideally this should be the output. You've been provided with 4, then your program should write like this: start with number, go till 1. So 4, 3, 2, 1. If you have been provided with 3, then what you have to do? 3, 2, 1. Same goes for 2. If you have been provided with 2, then you have to do 2, 1. If you have been provided with 1, then in that case what you have to do? You just have to print the number. I mean, start with the number, go till 1. So number is also 1 and the limit is also 1. So for that you will just print 1. So here comes this faith mechanism into picture. So this is the expectation from you. If you have been provided 5, then you have to print 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is the expectation. Expectations. Fine. So if this is the expectation, first of all you have to clear this point in your mind. What is the expectation from you? If you are not able to figure out what is the expected output from us, then you cannot apply the faith mechanism. Neither you can apply neither you can meet your expectation with faith. So this is very important point. We have to clear what is the expectation from you. Fine. So this is the expectation. You have been provided 5, then you have to print 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. If you have been provided 4, then of course we have to print 4, 3, 2, 1. Fine. So in recursion, what happens exactly is, from now onwards we have to focus deep. In recursion, what happens? Let us say this was the expectations. If the expectation is for 5, if we have been expected to print 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, then we will have faith that if we call f of 4 from f of 5, if you are not able to get it, let us say if we have provided this function int n is 5. Fine. So this is the expectation. This function should print like this: 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Fine. If you are not able to see this, then this would get you understand. So this is the expectation. So rather than printing all these digits, what you will do, that this is the expectation from you, then what you will do, you will have faith. Then if I call f of 4 from this function, instead of printing these numbers, if I call f of 4, or you can say n-1 also, because 4 is equal to the n-1 of 5, like 5 minus 1 is 4. Fine. I hope you got my point. So what I am saying is, instead of printing these numbers 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 into this, the body of this method, what you can do, you can have faith onto this function that this f of 4 know how to solve itself. You will have to have some faith onto this function that this f of 4 will print itself or print its expected output. So what was the expected output from f of 4? It was 4, 3, 2, 1. So 4, 3, 2, 1. So if you can faith on f of 4, then this will print 4, 3, 2, 1. Then indirectly you will be able to get 4, 3, 2, 1. Then why not print 5 itself, the number provided to you, and call this function? Let us see again. If it is not able to get you inside you, do not worry. We are going to reuse this method many times. So indirectly you will be able to get it. So what was the expectation of from, let us not write n, instead of n let us write 5. Fine. So this was the expectation. If you have been provided f of 5, then this is the expectation from you. 5 4 3 2 1. And we have faith also. Instead of printing this, we have this also. If we used to provide f of 4 onto the same function, then this will print 4 3 2 1. Fine. So if we can faith onto this output, that this output can be generated using f of 4. You, like in the recursion, the main problem with the student is they cannot find faith, or they cannot believe into your code, into your function. So this is the very critical point. Then you should have faith, then only you are going to understand the recursion. And I am going to explain also why we used to have faith. Fine. So for now, just see what I am telling you. Do not worry on why. Just see what I am telling you, and then we'll see how it is working, and then we'll see why it is working. Fine. So for now, you just have to point out, or you just have to focus on what is the mechanism. So for now, just focus on what. So what I was explaining is, like, if this is the expectation from you, that f of 5 will print 5 4 3 2 1, and you also know that if we have a function which take input as f of 4, then this will do its job. We will have faith on this, that 4 3 2 1 will automatically print it if we call the same function using an smaller input, which is either you can say n-1, or you can say 4, or you can say f of 4. Fine, both are same thing. So if this will print 4 3 2 1, so along with that, if we manually print 5, which is the, same n, so eventually it will print 5 and the output for this. So 5 4 3 2 1. If we are able to get it the same output using faith and expectation mechanism, then why not use this? Fine. So again, coming to the point again, this was the expectation. Like we are clear about the expectation. If we have been given f of 5, then our program should print 5 4 3 2 1. Fine. This is the expectation. Our faith is if we call the same function with a smaller input, example as if f of 4 can do its job as 4 3 2 1, so this is our faith, then f of 4 will do its job. Fine. So f of 4 will do its job. Before calling this function, why not print the input which have been provided to you? So print 5 and call the f of 4. So 5 you have printed manually. F of 4 will print itself, which is 4 3 2 1. Eventually you are getting your expected output. Look at here. So this was the expectation, and faith was this. Then you are having faith that f of 4 will do its job, and this is the meat of expectation and faith. This is the meat. Here we are meeting our expectation with faith. Fine. So this is all about the faith and expectation mechanism. If you are not able to get it, then what you can do, you can reiterate this small span of this video, so that you should be able to get this point, because this point or this faith and expectation mechanism is going to reuse in many videos or in many problems. Like if you are not able to faith, or if you are not able to faith onto your smaller input, then you are not going to understand the graphs. First of all, you are not going to understand the trees also, because trees is also dependent, graph is also dependent on the trees. So if you are not able to get trees, then of course you are not able to get the graphs. So faith and expectation mechanism is very important. I hope you should be able to get. If not, then let me explain once more, just for some people. Like this was the input that you have been provided 5, then your program should return 5 4 3 2 1. And if you have been provided 4, then your program should return 4 3 2 1. If you have been provided f of 3, then your program should return 3 2 1. Same goes for 2 1 also. So this is the expectation. You will be provided with f of 5, like your f of 5 should print 5 4 3 2 1. Along with that, we will have faith, then f of 4 will do its job perfectly. We just have to print 5. So after printing 5, just call the same method with then a smaller input, that this will do its job. Fine. So if this will do its job, this will print eventually 4 3 2 1. So before printing this, print your n or 5 here. Eventually you are getting your answer 5 4 3 2 1. This was the expectation from you. That means after having faith and expectation mechanism, you are able to solve your problem. Fine. So let us see, let us write some code also, then we'll analyze why this is working and what is missing. If we look at here, we are missing something which is known as the base condition. So I will come to that also, why we need base condition, and if we do not write base condition, then what will happen. So let us write some code for the same problem. So till now what we have seen, let us see the input format. So in the input you would be provided an integer number. Fine. So what we'll do, I'm writing the code in Java. Scanner scn. What I will do, I will write the boilerplate code for each problem of Java, that this object would be created automatically, so that every time we do not have to create the object. So here we are taking the input as scn.nextInt, which is, let us say initially the input is provided to you also. Here also you can see this is 8. This will be by default mapped, which is the sample test case input. It will be by default mapped to here. So what we have to do, we have to call a function. Let us call it as fun as n and pass this n to this. And if we are calling this function, then of course we have to declare this function also, or define. Yes, define would be much better, because we are defining the definition for this, and we are receiving a parameter also. Fine. So if we look at here, till now what we have taken an input from the user. Let us assume that it is 5, and we are calling a function or name fun like this, fun of f of 5. So here in the n we have 5. Now what we have to do, our expectation from us is, if we pass 5, then your program should return like this, 5 4 3 2 1. So what we will do, we will print 5 and then we'll call the same method using the smaller value, which is n-1 or 5-1, both are same. So firstly print the value or the input which is provided to you, print ln, print n, and after printing call the method with n-1, and we will assume that n-1 or f of 4 already knows how to print 4 3 2 1. So before printing 4 3 2 1, we are printing 5. So eventually we would be able to get 5 4 3 2 1. So with this, what is the expectation, like what we have set expectation with this code, we should be able to get 5 4 3 2 1. So let us try to run it and let us see what we are going to get. So I'm hitting onto this button, which is compile and run. So input is 8. Let us not try with 8, let us try with 5, because we have seen the example of 5. So we have something wrong. Scanner spelling was not good. Fine. So for 5 we are getting 5 4. Look at this, 5 4 3 2 1. Till now we are getting correct, but after this we are also getting some more values. 0, look at this very carefully, 0 -1 -2 -3 -4, and till infinite. Why we are getting, why we are in the infinite condition? Let us analyze this also. Let us take this code onto the board and then we'll see why this code is going into the infinite condition. Let us erase this because we do not need it anymore. We will analyze why this code is not working, and if we are able to figure out that why this code is not working, then I would say you would be able to understand the concept of trees. At least the concept of trees you would be able to understand very clearly. If not, then this is also fine. I'm going to explain. So look at this, what was happening. What we have done is we have provided n as 5. So what it does is it print n, which is 5. So after printing 5, what it does is it simply call the same function with a smaller value which is 5 minus 1 is which is 4. So it calls the same function with f of 4. So let me tell you one more thing. When we call the function, then what happens inside the stack? Let us say this is your stack, and if you like, first of all, we can see here we have called the main function. Like in Java, JDK used to call the main function. So when JDK calls this main function, I don't know about the JDK or JRE. Do not worry on that part. I'm not explaining the Java, I'm explaining the concept of recursion. So what happens when this main function was called, then this main function was into this stack. This stack. Fine. This main function was in a stack, and from the main function we also call this function. You can see here this function we have called from the main function. So this function would be loaded above the main function. Like until this function will not come over, then this main method will not over. If it is not clear to you, then let me explain once more. When we used to call a function, that function is assigned into the stack, and if the function is over and the execution of function is finished, then this function will be popped out from this stack. Fine. So this is how function used to call in Java. So when this function was called with f of 5, then what happens? It prints the 5 and calls the same function with n minus 1. N minus 1 is 4. So it will again log the same function or put the same function onto stack within a smaller input, which is 4. So if this function is presented in the stack, then what it will do? New instance. Now look at this function as the new instance. Fine. Now you have to look at this as like this, int 4. Fine. Now if you have this function, forget about this function. Now we are on this, now on this function. So if n is 4, because we have passed 4. So if n is 4, then what we used to do? We used to print n first of all. So we will print 4 this time. After printing 4, we are again calling the same function within a smaller value. So let us again call the same function with f of 3. 4 minus 1 is 3. So now another instance of same function is created with this input 3. So if n is 3, then what we used to do? We used to print 3 and call the fun function. So for n minus 1, which is f of 2. So again call the f of 2. Fine. So if n is 2, again the new instance is created. I hope it is clear to you now. Every time a new instance is being created. Fine. So if n is 2, then we are printing n. After I'm entering into the function, our first step is to print the n. So print n is 2. Again call the same function with a smaller value. Call fun of f of 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. So if now, of course, I hope you have got that now this time the value of n would be 1. So if n is 1, 1 would be printed. Again this function would be called. Fine. If this function would be called, so for what this function would be called? This function would be called, let us try to shift it below. Fine. So again this function would be called for f of 0. So if n is 0, a new instance would be created into the stack. If n is 0, so 0 would be printed and this would be called again, n minus 1. 0 minus 1 is minus 1. Now this function is again called with minus 1. So if n is minus 1, then minus 1 would be printed. If this is printed, then again this function would be called for minus 1 minus 1, which is minus 2. So now we have f of minus 2 into the stack. If this is into the stack, then this would be printed minus 2. And if we can analyze, we are not stopping this function for execution until infinite. So till infinite it is going to print the outputs. So -1, -2, -3, -4, -5, like this would print till infinite. But what we wanted, if we can see here, we can say it is printing till infinite. Fine. But what we wanted from it, after printing 1, you do not have to go further. After printing 1, just return from there. So once we reach 1, and if we make the another call to f of -n minus 1 to 0, so from here neither we have to print n or 0, neither we have to call any further method. Instead of calling and printing anything, we just have to return from here. So look at this. If we have reached onto a limit from where we should stop, if n is equals to 0, then from here just return. Let us try to run it now and look what is going to happen. So you can see we have 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So why it is printing the correct output? Let me analyze also. So here we have a small condition, if n is equal to 0, then return. So what happens when we write return statement? Fine. Let us erase it. Now we do not need this. This is very important point. What happens when we write the return statement within a method body or the function body? So let us try to take this code now onto the same board. So the difference between these two functions is only this, and along with that, this condition is known as the base condition, and this is compulsory in every recursive function. This is compulsory. Base condition is compulsory in every recursive function. If we have not provided a base condition, then there is no mean to write the recursive logic. Fine, this is compulsory. So what happens when we write the return statement? So if we look at here, let us suppose we have this main method and we are receiving a value int x equal to, let us say, scn.nextInt. Take the example of this. So what happens, this method is being called, next is, let us write more clearly, scn.nextInt. What happens when this method is being called? This method, of course, this is defined into this scanner class. So let us suppose this method is defined here and this is not taking an input. It is returning something. What it is returning? It is returning the input which is being provided onto the console. So it takes the input from the console and return it. Let us say input was 5. So it returns the 5. So from where, where this method will be called, where this method would be written. So from where this method was called, this method would be written to that, to that position. So this nextInt method was called from main method. So if it has been called from the main method, then of course the value or the return statement will take it to that point only. So my main point was that to explain, if we are on f of 0 and we are returning from there, like from here only we are returning. Look at here, if n is 0, then only we are returning from that. So that means we are returning from here. So if we are returning from here, so this is very critical point, then where it would go here, or it would go here, or it would go here, or it would go directly into the main from where it was called. Fine. So the answer for this question is what I told you, the method control goes to there from where the method was called. So f of 0 was called from where? F of 0 was called from f of 1. And from where f of 1 was called? F of 1 was called from f of 2. So f of 0 will go to f of 1. And of course we are not doing anything. So once this method executes successfully, so this would not do anything. And so, my main point was f of 0 would go here from where this was called. So from here f of 0 was called. Let us analyze or figure out one previous step from f of 0. So previous step from f of 0 was f of 1. So if n was 1, so from here we have called f of 1 minus 1. That means f of 0. So from here f of 0 was called. So if from here f of 0 was called, then of course f of 0 would return to here. Fine. So if it is returning here, so I mean there is no step further after this. So it will simply end the end this function. And if this function is end, then the control will return to this. And if this function is end, then control will return to this, then to this, then to this, and then to. If this function is completed, then the control for f of 5 will return to the main method from where it was called. So this is how stack mechanism works, and this is how this base condition is being handled. So base condition is mandatory to write the recursive logic. So this stack mechanism is very important to get understand with the recursion. And if you are able to figure out the base condition in any program, then of course you can write the recursive logic also. Base condition is important, so you have to analyze from where we need to return. We could write the same case or same condition in this way also. Instead of returning to 0 after printing 1, we can check also if n minus 1 is 0, then do not call f of 0, just return from here. That would also work. Fine. Let me show you that also so that you can have trust. What we can do, let us say we were in f of 1, so f of 1 was printed. So now we will check if n is 1, then do not make any call to f of 0, because we have to stop on f of 1 only. So this will also work. Let us see, we are able to get the same output. Let us see also. So you can see we are getting the same output. Let us run it for f of 8, which was the default input. So here you can say we are getting correctly success, but in case of the correct output, we would be able to get the correct answer. So we are getting the correct answer, and also we are getting the 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1, and try to submit it so that, and you can see we are, our code is passing all the 5 test cases which is being associated with the problem. So this was the main concept of the recursion. And if you are not able to get the recursion, then this is the highly recommendation part from my side for you, that you should reiterate with this video, because from here you should start your hard working. And if you are not able to get the point of recursion, then trust me, you are not going to understand the DP, neither you are going to understand the trees, neither you are going to understand the graph. So recursion is the most important point to get understand to all that concepts. So I hope I was able to explain the concept of recursion, and still if you do have confusion, then you can comment down below, I would be replying there. And so that's it from my side for this video, and so we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.